My name's Mia. I'm now a single lady, but once I was married to a horrible guy named Jack. His parents, Shane and Irina, were equally bad, and the two of them regularly made me feel like, to be honest. Jack and I both had good jobs and were earning a lot of money, but his parents never acknowledged that. They thought that I was a gold digger who mooched off their son. That was partly Jack's fault. He always said, "Mia is very lucky to marry me. She does have the desire to lead a luxurious life. She couldn't have done that without my help. Of course, you know what? Mom, Dad, I showed them most of the finances of our house." "Jack, what are you saying?" "Oh, Jack, you are such a generous guy. Any woman would be lucky to have you. Mia, you better take care of my son properly. If he leaves you, you'll be left with nothing. Yeah, thank God we made you sign a prenup before marriage. We knew Mia wouldn't amount to anything, so we thought we should protect our son." "Yes, his parents made us sign a prenup." "Look, I don't have a problem with prenups. I was just mad at the fact that Jack didn't even discuss this with me. He always told his parents that I earned way less than him and depended on him for everything. So they assumed that I was a gold digger. Jack always told me to go with his lies because his family would look down on him if they found out that I earned more than him. I really loved Jack and didn't want him to feel humiliated, so I put up with the insults. I was a freaking idiot for marrying Jack. That man didn't love me and didn't have any respect for me. He regularly humiliated me for earning less than him and spending all his money. All of them were lies. In fact, he was actually fired from his job a year ago and was dependent on me. But he didn't want his parents to find out. Of course, Jack was getting on my nerves and draining my savings. I was getting really tired of him not looking for work. The final strike came when I purchased a house. I got some inheritance money from a relative and was building a house fund. I found a great match and went for it. It was a beautiful house, and I immediately fell in love. I bought it and put the title in my name only. Jack protested, but I reminded him that he didn't pay a cent towards the purchase. Still, he would not stop pestering me. What put me over the edge was what he told his parents at a family dinner. We were having a good time until his parents decided to talk about the house. They said, "So I hear that you too have bought a big house. I went to see the house before you guys moved in. It's truly one of a kind. Did you two already move in?" "Yes, Shane, we have finalized the deal just a month ago. It's already pretty well made and furnished, so we moved in last week. We're still settling in, but it's nice to finally have a place of our own. So, did you two buy the house jointly? I don't see how your manager's salary can buy such a big house, Mia. I guess my son paid most of the money." "No, Mom, you're wrong. I didn't pay most of the money." At this point, I thought that Jack would rectify his parents' mistakes and tell them that the house actually belonged to me. I expected him to tell them that I was the one who paid in full and owned the house. But what he said next absolutely blew my mind. He said, "Actually, I paid for the entire house. My job has been going so well that I could save up a lot of money, so I thought I might as well buy a house in my name." Say, I knew it. My son is so successful that he bought a huge house all by himself. God, I'm so happy for you, Jack. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you, son. It must have been a huge feat to buy your own house. You have reached the peak of success, my son. I'm so happy for you. Irina and Shane kept congratulating Jack and completely ignoring me. I tried to get Jack's attention, but he was intentionally avoiding meeting my eye. I was getting really pissed by what I witnessed. I controlled my anger because I didn't want to shout at him in front of his parents. However, as soon as we left, I said, "What the hell was that, Jack?" Why did you tell your parents that you bought the house all by yourself? And a penny on it. Relax, Mia. I told him to make them a little happy. I don't want them to suspect that I lost my job. They'd be extremely disappointed. What else was I supposed to do? You could have said that we went 50-50 on the house, but no, you literally took all the credit for buying the house. I feel humiliated and cheated. Jack, this is very unfair. Look, what's done is done. I'm not going to back and correct myself. I won't humiliate myself like that. Who cares what my parents think? Let them be. He had no problem humiliating me, but won't do that to himself for the truth. That day I realized something. Jack has completely changed after our marriage. He no longer cared about me or my feelings. He was mooching off me for the last year, and it's showing no signs of getting a job again. I was getting tired of shouldering all the family expenses. He was even fighting with me to put his name on the house title as well. Somewhere in my mind, I could understand that he was using me. Still, I was on the fence about what to do. That was until something more drastic happened. The next evening, I was making myself a snack when suddenly I heard the doorbell ring. I was curious to see who was visiting because there was a lot of commotion at the door. Jack, hurry downstairs and open the door with a little look of uneasiness. I was shocked to see his parents at the door with all their stuff. His parents were smiling and laughing with Jack while they brought their things inside. Before I could ask what was going on, I heard them say, "Jack, we got all our stuff here. We packed our things as soon as you told us that we could stay here. You are the best son ever, Jack. We knew we raised you right. When you told us to come stay at your new house, I told all of my friends what a great son you are. We're so proud of you. I'm glad to make you proud, Mom and Dad. It's nothing. Actually, you guys were right. You need to stay with us since I bought such a big house with plenty of room to house you for free." My mouth was hanging open as soon as I heard that. In no alternate universe did I ever approve of Jack allowing his parents to stay in my house. I could see that this house charade had gone too far. Still, I didn't want to confront Jack in front of his family. There was no way his parents were living in my house, that was sure, but I was trying to find a way to deal with this situation gently. They continued to make castles in the air. God, it is so nice to finally live in a big house. We were really getting cramped up in the old place. I'm so proud of my son for being this successful. This house is truly magnificent. Yeah, he said, that this place has 4 bedrooms. Imagine that, Irina. Oh my God, yes, 4 freaking bedrooms. We will take the biggest room out of all of those. It would be my dream come true. Come on now, Jack. Show us which is the biggest and best room. We can't wait. Why don't you two just wait here while I have a chat with your son here? I'm sure he has a lot of explaining to do. Jack looked panicked when I said that. He started to look at everything except me. He knew that he was in deep trouble. I was already getting very angry at my in-laws' sudden arrival. Their demands for the biggest room also pissed me off beyond imagination. Jack could tell that this wasn't going to end well for him, so he decided to be a coward and hide behind his parents. He said, "Why do we need to talk in private since my parents will stay here from now on? We can just talk in front of them. I don't think it'll be a problem." "Are you sure about that, Jack?" "Well, I don't mind discussing this in front of your parents if you don't." "I have no problem as well, Mia. Go ahead and tell me what you want." "You know what I'm going to say, Jack. Your parents won't be living here. I won't allow this to happen. You didn't even consult me before inviting them over. How do you think this is okay? How dare you say that to my son? This is his house, and he can do what he pleases. Yes, he doesn't need your permission to keep us here. Know your place, Mia. You can't just talk to our son like that. You should be careful so that he doesn't kick you out. Now stop being a spoiled brat and show us the biggest room. We can't wait any longer. Take us to our room." "Nah, I don't think I'll do that, Irina." Irina and Shane were super shocked by my audacity. I didn't know if I should be mad at them or not. Yes, they are super entitled people, but it was Jack's fault for lying to his parents. If Jack hadn't lied to them and invited them over, we wouldn't be having this problem. Still, I knew that Irina and Shane were not completely innocent either. They were standing in my house and threatening to have me kicked out. I don't know how I can look past that. They said, "What do you mean, Mia?" "If you don't show us the room, Jack will. Our son has promised us that we can have the biggest room. We left our rented apartment because of that. Yes, we came here today because Jack promised to take care of us. Our son is such a good man that he knows how to take care of his parents. He was the one who invited us over to stay in his new house. That's why we ended our lease early." "Well, in that case, you have made a huge mistake, Irina and Shane. I don't think you can stay here at all, let alone get the biggest room." "How dare you, Mia? We don't need your permission to stay here. My son will show us our room. If you don't, this house is not yours, so you can't dictate whether we can stay here or not." "You have that wrong, Irina. I guess Jack hasn't told you yet. This house belongs to me and not him, so you won't be getting the biggest room. You will have to do with the streets instead." "What?" "That's impossible. Jack has told us already that he bought this house. You're telling lies." "Is that so, guys? Then why don't you ask Jack and find out the truth? I'm sure he'll clear everything." "Damn right we will, Mia. Jack, tell your wife that she's being a lying witch right now." "Yeah, Jack, tell her that you own the house. You have said so yourself." Both Shane and Irina expectantly looked at Jack to tell them what they wanted to hear. Again, I don't blame them because it was Jack who lied to his parents. Jack was looking down at his feet and not saying anything. Slowly it dawned on his parents that there was a possibility I was speaking the truth. They still couldn't believe it completely. I mean, all this while, they thought that I was a gold digger with a bad job, and their son was a hard-working and successful man. They said, "Jack, why are you not saying anything? This house belongs to you, right? That's what you told us. Why are you being so quiet, Jack? Tell her that she can't kick us out." "What will he say, guys?" "He's been lying to you to all this. Well, I can even show you the property papers that say I am the sole owner of this house." "That can't be true. You work a simple job and don't have a lot of money. My son has a huge income and can afford this house. There is no way that this house is yours." "Correction, Irina. Your son had a huge income. He also didn't tell you that he had been fired from his job a year ago. Since then, he's been living on my income. And for your information, I have a very good job. Just because I show off, that doesn't mean I'm a poor woman." Oh boy, you guys should have seen the expression on Shane and Irina's faces when I revealed the truth. They were totally dumbstruck by my words. Jack, as usual, was still watching the floor, refusing to meet his parents' eyes. His parents kept asking him to confirm what I said was the truth. He didn't utter a single word until I said, "Okay, that's enough drama for a single day. Shane and Irina, I've entertained you two in my house for long enough. It's time you two take your things and leave. Mia, you can't just kick my parents out like that. They broke their lease to come to stay with us. They have nowhere to go right now. You can't just put them on the streets." "I can and I will, Jack. They didn't consult me before making these horrible decisions, and you didn't think of taking my input before ensuring them a place at my house. Look, this might be your house, but I'm also your husband. If I say my parents will stay here, they will stay here. You can't kick them out. That's right. This is also my son's house. Right now, everything that belongs to you also belongs to him. So you can't kick us out. No, Irina, I can kick you out. And don't worry about Jack, because he will be kicked out with them too. Now, Jack, since you're still married to me, I will make a nice eviction notice for you, and I will make sure you won't stay married for long. What do you mean, Mia? Are you going to divorce me? Yes, my dear husband, I'm going to divorce you. I'll call my lawyer tomorrow and set up an appointment. I'm sure we will be able to serve you by next week. Jack immediately panicked when I mentioned a divorce. He looked pretty pissed off and acted like I can't do that to him or something. His anger also set me off, but I controlled myself. I wouldn't stoop to his level. He said, "You can't go divorce me, Mia. If you do, I will take half the house and claim alimony from you." How do you plan to do that, Jack? Have you forgotten the prenup that you and your parents made me sign? Do you want me to remind you what it said? Jack was now suddenly reminded of the prenup that we had signed before we got married. It clearly said that under no circumstances we can ever claim alimony from each other. And it also said that our private assets will stay ours and won't be divided in case of a divorce. Back then, Jack and his parents made me sign this prenup to protect Jack. They never imagined that Jack would end up being the one on the losing side. His parents had so much faith in his ability to succeed that they forgot what fate could do to people. Now they understood the implications of the prenup. Suddenly, their entire demeanor changed. They said, "Now we don't have to jump to a divorce right away. We can all sit down and have an adult conversation about this. Yes, Mia, let's just calm down and talk this out. I'm sure we might actually arrive at a compromise that will be beneficial for everyone. I don't care what would be beneficial to you guys. I refuse to be the cash cow for you, Jack, and I refuse to let your parents take advantage of me after how badly they treated me. That was in the past, Mia. Many years have passed since then. I'm sure you can look past that now. It was a very minor issue. You and your wife just threatened to have me kicked out. Because I refused to house you, and that happened just a few minutes ago, there was no use making excuses and being pleasant to me now. You and Irina need to leave before I call the cops. I would prefer if Jack leaves as well, but if he needs an eviction notice, he will get that soon. Jack, Shane, and Irina then started to beg with me to change my mind. Those two idiots had really ended their lease because they wanted to move in with us. Jack thought that he would somehow convince me to play along like I did in the past. He had no idea that I would actually stand up against him and stop being a pushover. I was done being the family doormat. Not anymore. They could go to hell for all I care. When I saw that Irina and Shane weren't leaving even after an hour, I decided to call the cops. They came and escorted them out of the house. After Irina and Shane left, Jack screamed at me for humiliating his parents and kicking them out. I reminded him that he too had only a month to vacate my house. That made him switch his behavior to being apologetic and remorseful. The way this family changed their behavior seriously gave me a headache. Thankfully, I didn't have to deal with them for long. From that night onwards, I didn't allow Jack into my room. He stayed in the guest room until it was time for him to leave. Yes, he was served with an eviction notice, so he had no choice. Meanwhile, his parents, after spending a huge chunk of their savings on a hotel, were forced to find a new place to rent. Surprisingly, they didn't allow Jack into their new place. Jack was left scrambling for a place just like his parents were. I guess they really wanted Jack to pay for lying to them and leaving them in alert. From what it seems, since then, their relationship has become strained. They blamed each other for their present condition, and now his parents refused to support Jack anymore. He was only good for them when he had money. Jack had no couch to surf at his friend's until he got a job. I filed for divorce from Jack. There was no way I was going to stay with him anymore. He disrespected me and revealed himself to be a very vain and selfish man. That was not the person I fell in love with. Jack tried his best to make me change my mind, but I was firm in my decision. I refused to be taken advantage of any more. Since we don't have kids, we got divorced after being separated for 6 months only. In those 6 months, I built myself back up, and now I have started to date again. Surprisingly, Jack is still hoping we can get back together, but that unfortunately will be in his dreams only.